Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Eddie Austin YouTube channel and podcast. Today, I have a special guest on, Kaaren with uDirect IRA, and another exciting podcast to do with IRA groups. And you know, guys, I love this because IRAs give you the possibility to truly invest in real estate, hard assets, not stock, bonds, and mutual funds. So please, by all means, take it away, Kaaren.
You know, Eddie, we're new friends, and so you got to know my name is Kaaren.
Kaaren, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's like Kaaren with an attitude, right? So
Yes,
nobody gets
I like
it.
that.
Yeah, no one gets it. But yeah, no, I mean, we were just talking here, and we just continue our conversation about how crazy it is, all the fees that Wall Street takes out of your account when you have a financial advisor. You don't see how, when you've got to trade, there's a fee. When your investment makes money, they're taking a percentage of that, before you even see it. And so much of the money comes off the back end from your investments. But when you've got a self-directed account, you've got an agreement with maybe an asset sponsor, and you can see up front what the fees are, and it's all disclosed. It's just a different world, alternative assets, and it just lets you keep more of what you think you're making.
It's your hard-earned money.
Yes.
You probably worked quite a long time, probably long past where you wanted to, and you rolled it over from your 401k, and now you're in a different environment. So, I feel so bad for these people because I just got done reading the book Money Mastered to Gain by Tony Robbins.
Oh yeah.
And, he interviews Ray Dalio, Bridgewater, all those companies, and they talk about fees. And the truth of the matter is a lot of that stuff is it's not disclosed where it's easily accessible to the user, and they don't get that. And it's amazing over a long period of time how much those fees can compound.
It's nuts. One of the places that I've seen this illustrated with humor, in comedy, is John Oliver, and he has this video. You can look it up on YouTube. So just type in John Oliver teacup pigs, because he's talking about this like tax strategy, and then he breaks it up and he says, and now let's talk about teacup pigs. It's just like he just makes it funny for a minute and he comes back to the point. But it's really, really funny, and it's an extremely good breakdown of exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. So I've had people ask me, so these IRA groups, if there's not a bunch of fees, then how do they make their money? And so this is a good opportunity. So what does that look like for you guys?
What does it look like? Well, first off, our annual fee is a flat fee of $275. We share that with our trust company custodian. We have a $50 setup fee up front, $275 annually per account. We have thousands of accounts, so that's some revenue. But the way we really make money is just like banks, and that's by earning float on the idle cash, not on the asset itself, like fund managers and like Wall Street, but we earn it on the idle cash, just like a bank. And in fact, we have a trust company that we work with, and that's exactly how the fees are raised. So it's not from your investment. It's just from the cash that's sitting around uninvested. That's how it goes.
So I actually told my clients that were considering investing through an IRA group. And I said, I'm pretty sure that's essentially how they make their money. And they're like, no, they got to make more money than that. I'm like, I don't think so.
Do you see an ad on the Super Bowl for a self-directed IRA company? You don't. And that's because we're not spending your retirement dollars on a Super Bowl ad. That's why.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's one thing that, I go to these real estate conferences and real estate meetups, and there's starting to be more and more talk about this subject and the IRA groups and how they are investing in alternate assets other than stock, bonds, and mutual funds. And it's starting to become more popular, and I'm happy to see that because I went to Best Ever Conference out in Salt Lake City, and I got there, and there was a gentleman trying to get a room, and he's trying to get in the door, and he gets in, and he's like, man, I don't know what's going on, but all the rooms are booked, and I always stay at this motel. And he goes, I don't know, there's some conference going on. I said, yeah. I said, there's a real estate conference going on. And he goes, is that why you're here? I was dressed in a suit. And I said, yes, sir, it is. He goes, okay, so what do you do? I said, well, I'm a real estate fund manager. he goes, so just tell me a little bit more. I said, well, we, take money from IRAs and self-directed stuff, Roth IRAs, stuff like that, and high net worth individuals, and all the way across the spectrum. If you're an accredited investor, you can invest with our funds. And when we invest in real estate, and he goes, oh, wow. Well, I got $300,000 in an IRA. I said, do you have that in play? Like, you have it currently invested? No, I don't know where to put it. I'm afraid to put it anywhere. I'm like, you got that sitting in cash, 300 grand? I do. And I said, man, you've got to get that into the market. Don't be just sitting on the sideline.
Yeah, your little money soldiers have to work for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he asked me, he goes, well, Eddie, I mean, there's no way that I can invest just 300 grand with a person like yourself. I said, man, my minimum investment is 100 grand. And honestly, I have the ability to lower that if I would like. I can lower it to 50,000 if I see fit. And he goes, really? Well, please take my number and, let's get that invested somewhere.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, when you're putting your money in Main Street instead of Wall Street, you're not just benefiting yourself, you're also benefiting a neighborhood. You're benefiting, the workers that are working on that property and providing jobs. I mean, you're earning some profit, the asset sponsor's earning some profit, a new building is being created, and it's just like a win-win all around kind of situation.
Yeah. So I do have a question. So I believe the Roth IRA, there is caps or limitations on how much a person can invest every year. So is there caps or limitations on investing in the uDirect form?
Well, I mean, there's no cap on how much you can invest. There are caps on how much you can contribute. And a Roth IRA does have contribution limits. I mean, they all do. Every account has a contribution limit. And it's based upon your age and your account type and your income. So with a Roth IRA, which has special rules, you could make too much money to be able to contribute. But then there's something you probably heard of called a backdoor IRA, right? So you've got your money in a different, like a pre-tax IRA, like a traditional or a SEP. You can do what's called a conversion. So you convert pre-tax dollars to Roth. Now you pay tax on that conversion, however much you convert, but then the money grows tax-free for life, the proceeds. So if you're going to go into a good deal and that's really going to go up and you don't have to pay tax on that gain in retirement, it may make sense to roll it over and convert it into a Roth. Same thing if you're taking a really big tax hit one year. I'm going to talk to your tax advisor and say, hey, does it make sense to do a Roth conversion this year so that I can, realize that loss and, it could kind of balance out how much tax I'm paying. So these are questions to ask your tax advisor, like, hey, is this a good year for a conversion to Roth, so that more of your retirement dollars are out there working for you tax-free.
That makes sense. So a regular IRA, self-directed, is there a cap on that as well?
Well, understand that IRAs are IRAs. I mean, it was created in 1975, and it's just an IRA. It's a bucket that holds retirement money. And when this first came out in 1975, what the IRS says is you can invest in anything except life insurance contracts and collectibles. Okay, great. So it's always been self-directable, but Wall Street kind of grabbed a hold of it and said, hey, let's put it in mutual funds and index funds. And the average person is busy doing their job and they're not really paying attention. And they don't realize you can also invest in alternative assets. You've always been able to. So all the IRAs, the way the money goes in, the way that the money comes out, the rules are the same, whether it's self-directed or not. So self-directed really means that your IRA is going to invest in alternative assets outside the stock market. So there's correlated assets, assets correlated to the market, like, CDs and stocks and mutual funds, index funds, all that, tied to the market. And there are the alternative assets. So self-directed IRA is going to hold alternative assets.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see. I'm trying to think of another good subject that the everyday person would want to hear. So I know that when they leave a job and they have a W-2 and they've left that job and they've got this nice 401k plan that is now exited from the company they were working for, they can contact you all and move that straight into an IRA.
Yes.
Hopefully they don't roll it over to their next job
Yeah. Because then it's
because
going
the
to go in the
401k,
market. Yeah.
yeah. Well, the 401ks, I think there's just limited ability to be able to self-direct it in the ways that we want to. I know
Yes.
there's probably some check boxes, and we could probably invest in some index funds, but it's ultimately chose by probably your employer. They
Yeah,
probably
you're
have a
right.
financial advisor.
Yeah, they'll give you like a bucket of choices. But when
Hmm.
it's an IRA, it can be a traditional, a Roth, a SEP, a simple, a spousal, an inherited IRA, and if you're self-employed, a solo 401k as well. And these are all different account types, all self-directable, even an HSA or a health savings account. And we could go deep in the weeds on each of these. We could do our whole show on just one of these. But
Hmm. Yeah.
there are different kinds of IRAs, and some are pre-tax like a traditional, some are after tax like a Roth. And hey, something that's really interesting, I believe, that just happened recently at the end of the year, at the end of 2022, is that there was this act, it's Secure Act 2.0 that passed, right? And so part
Okay.
of, there's a lot to it. It was bipartisan, it's all pro-retirement, it's pro-investor. As an industry, we're all yay for this. It looked, all green lights on this one. But one of the things is it comes up with two brand new kinds of accounts. So, or at least I'll just explain. So there's a SEP IRA, and that's an acronym for Simplified Employee Pension. That's for someone who's self-employed, and it's an
Hmm.
IRA. And you can also use that for your employees. So if you have a business, you can have a SEP IRA, and then the employer pays the contribution for the employees' accounts, right?
Hmm.
And that's great. And those can be self-directed. So that way an employer can offer their employees self-directed ability with their retirement dollars. Okay, a SEP. Then there's a savings incentive match plan for employers, another acronym. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, the simple is not that great. I mean, as far as like the contribution limit is lower, it's got more, it just is not popular. The SEP really kind of supplanted it, but they haven't done away with the simple, which they
Hmm.
may do. But the thing of it is, what the Secure Act 2.0 says is that starting 2023, you can contribute Roth dollars to these accounts, right? Instead of
Okay.
pre-tax dollars. It's always been pre-tax. All right, so they said that, but there's no guidance yet. So we're waiting for the Department of Treasury to come out with guidance. Like, what does that look like? What are the caps? How much can I contribute? And there are a lot of
Hmm.
questions on that, so that are unanswered. So we're hoping by the summer of 2023, summer, fall, that we have some answers to what the Roth SEP and the Roth Simple will look like. In about a week, I'm going to a conference in DC, and we hope to get some illumination at that point, because this was effective January 1st, 2023, but nobody knows how to implement these. There's no prototype, there's nothing. So we need some guidance.
Wow. Well, I'm anxious to see more on that because I think that both of those could be very powerful because I know there's a lot of people that, I think there's more and more people migrating from the W-2 into the self or the not self-directed, got that on my brain, but the self-employed space. And we've got a lot of baby boomers that is leaving the market. They're exiting businesses and stuff like that. So we're working hopefully with those people to implement the DST, Deferred Sales Trust. And then also they could contribute to an IRA to a certain portion with that money. And it's just a beautiful picture. So I think we've got more people that's leaving the W-2, in my opinion, and going into to replace the baby boomers. They're buying a business from a baby boomer and then continue to operate that business. And that IRA self-directed space, to have more help in that area, I think would be very beneficial because as you're working, making your money, you would automatically contribute to that. You're still growing your wealth just the same as you do the 401k. I think the 401k started out as a really good model until the government took over, in my opinion. But at that point, it became a very fees heavy vehicle.
Yeah,
And
the employer 401k, right?
yes, the employer 401k for the W-2. So when they come up with a 401k plan, it started out as a great thing. Hey, contribute your untaxed dollars, and then it gets invested, and you can keep saving until retirement. But the amount of fees, and the vehicles it's put in to grow in, it's not that great.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And you want to just keep more of what you save, right? So,
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. Never lose principal, right?
yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Preservation of capital. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, preservation of capital. hmm So, what is it? Rule number one, Warren Buffett, never lose money. And rule number two is refer to rule number one.
There you go. And then you get to be Warren. Oh my gosh. Well, we see a lot of people take their self-directed IRAs and invest it in assets like real estate, and understand that almost all alternative assets are correlated to real estate. So it could be notes. So your IRA could buy performing and non-performing debt, from, and then you've got the right to collect those notes. Your IRA could be the bank and lend money, usually on real estate, but it could be on something. Your IRA can make a secured or unsecured loan. Your IRA could invest in precious metals, and that's getting kind of big with this digital currency thing looming over us, and the Fed now thing and all this. So people are loving precious metals. Your IRA can hold them, and they are custodied in this really secure place. So that's great. Other assets, just straight up real estate, just the touch it, the single family home, multifamily, storage units, mobile home parks, all these different kinds of real estate. But a lot of times the vehicle to get to those kinds of assets, like the commercial, the large scale of real estate assets, is through private equity. And that's what you're talking about, right?
Yes. So two different types of funds that we run. We either run a 506C that is a 3C5 fund, and it's a 506C, so it's accredited investors only. We can invest in, we can actually advertise that across all platforms. And then also we do private equity funds. So that's a real estate fund with a debt component to it. So we are signing on senior debt and then bringing investors on to actually put up the equity into the deal.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
Okay.
So there are different kinds of ways for an IRA to get into a deal like yours. So an IRA could get in as an equity partner, or your IRA could get in as a debt partner. If an IRA enters a deal like you just described that has leverage, and they don't all have leverage, but if an IRA becomes an equity partner in a deal like yours with leverage, it's going to throw off a tax to the IRA. And not a lot of people are aware of this. It's called UDFI, Unrelated Debt Financed Income Tax. So you have to file a 990T every year, and it's a little paperwork. You may not even owe any tax because you're going to take deductions, and you work that out with your CPA. But so if you want to avoid it altogether, your IRA could invest in a deal like what you're talking about as a debt partner instead of equity, to avoid that kind of UDFI tax.
So then your IRA would then be awarded they would be able to get the depreciation schedule, correct?
Yes.
Being on the debt side.
Yes. And so there are different ways to look at different, assets, and you don't have to just enter it one way. But you always want to begin with the end in mind and say, hey, I'm going to do this deal. So let's look at the private placement memorandum. Let's look at the subscription docs. And always, when you're an investor and you're an accredited investor, always have an attorney and a good CPA looking at your stuff. Like, hey, I've got a contract where you look at it. And they look at it and they can tell you if there are any hitches or anything like that. Because, we've done that. We do that a lot. And our clients do that a lot. And we found debt deals where there is no principal amount on the deal. Like it's got to have a principal amount. It's got to, like a note. It's got to have an interest rate. It's got to have a maturity date and a payment and a late date. All those things. And sometimes deals are written without just the basics. I'm sure yours are very put together. But I'm saying, as an accredited investor, it's always super important to do your due diligence on the actual wording of the agreement that you are, entering into on behalf of your retirement account.
And that's more important today than ever. And, I had a conversation this morning with an investor that he was on the fence if he wanted to be a GP or he wanted to be an LP, a limited partner. Us as a sponsor, the ones actually finding the deal, putting the deal together, structuring the funds, whether that's private equity or just a 506C real estate fund, we're the sponsors and the GPs. So he said, I'm kind of new. I don't have all my experience and track record, but I really like investing as an LP, but I really want to jump that GP spot. When do you think I should? And I said, honestly, I would reap the reward of being paid to be educated as long as you can. And he said, so I think I know what that means, but I would like you to explain it. And I said, look, if you come up to a good sponsor, you found an offering, or you found one in your IRA group, or you found one that's been approached to you on a Facebook account, or LinkedIn account, or just in the general email advertising or something like that, you want to ask that sponsor a lot of questions. You're going to get paid to educate yourself. And I said, look, if you are with a good sponsor, they're going to walk you through the PPM. They're going to walk you through the subscription package. They're going to walk you through the underwriting and ask questions. This may be annoying to some sponsors, but play dumb. And he said, well, yeah, I don't want to take too much of their time. I said, no, it's your money. And I said, it's your money at risk. So ask the questions. Hey, what is this? What is the interest rate? And one of the most important questions that you already brought up is, what is the exit plan? So we may have bought it for this basis, but what are we going to sell it for? That's something you got to look at. And I think some investors in the early stages, especially 2019 through 2021, they really didn't look at that thing, and the exit plan was much different than advertised.
It's funny how people will take their retirement dollars or their hard-earned money and not be super careful about it. I mean, I love what you said. Hey, look, you're giving them money. Talk to them all you want before you give them the money, and ask them, hey, can I audit your financials? I mean, is there something in here about allowing an audit of your financials? Because another thing that happens in IRA land sometimes, not very often, but is fraud, And where does fraud happen? It happens during the deal, after you've done your due diligence, while the deal's baking, and it happens in the books, in the stuff you don't see as an investor. So you definitely want to have the right to be able to come in and see audited financials.
Yeah, absolutely. How much money is a sponsor taking? How much debt is actually getting paid? What is the vacancy of the property? Look at these things. And, again, I've heard people say, well, who's got my money? And, it's my money I'm putting in this deal. No, it's not. It's someone else's money. You need to be extremely, you need to care about that, in my opinion. And you really need to be a fiduciary that is truly responsible for your investors. And our underwriting tools usually go underneath Wall Street style institutions, because sometimes we have a pref equity that sits next to our senior debt. Yeah. So when we sign up an institution, they're usually Wall Street level underwriters. So they're taking our underwriting tools and they are running it through the ringer, and they have lots of questions.
Yeah, and you really want to run your asset sponsor through the ringer for sure. And there are ways and places you can go to find out. I mean, you can go to FINRA, which is the enforcement arm of the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. So FINRA is FINRA, FINRA. And go to their website, and you can look up an asset sponsor, because when somebody has like a Reg A, B, C, D offering, they have to register that asset with the SEC. And they themselves have to be registered with the SEC. So are they in good standing with the SEC? So you can go on the SEC's website too, and NASA, which is NASA with an extra A. It's another like state securities administrators. And there's so many places where you can find out if you're working with a bad actor, and you definitely want to check that out, because again, we haven't seen this in a while, but there are times when we see bad actors, and the worst thing to see, from our standpoint, is somebody not profiting from their investment. I mean, things happen, and there's, like the Great Recession, things that are out of our control that aren't fraud that happen that can kill a deal. But you want to do everything you can to at least scrub for it and see if you can find anything on the surface.
You're so true on that, Kaaren, because, just like these 3 deals in Texas that just went down, I'm sure that was not a meaningful mistake. It was something unplanned, I'm sure. But just like in Texas, from 2019, 2018 until now, insurance costs has went up 100%.
Yeah.
And that's a direct cost to the asset. So if your underwriting is extremely tight to where you don't are not an under promise over deliver company, it is so easy to get in trouble these days. And I am so proud of our companies and our offerings and opportunities that we've never had any problems, and we do not see that being a problem. But there's been so many new syndicators that jumped in real estate and they raised money and they did these unbelievable returns. The investors a 10% preferred return and a really tight waterfall, and the deals can't cash flow under that restraint.
So
And
you're saying they didn't leave margin?
they didn't leave margin. They did
Yeah.
not. And I think between insurance and rate increases, so bridge loans was probably the biggest fault of the three deals in Texas. They didn't buy a rate cap. So
Oh, yeah.
so they probably, found this asset. They got their money together. They got their money all in place. They went to title. They went to closing. They didn't buy a rate cap. By the time they physically closed, that rate was probably underwrote at a 5% interest rate, and they probably bought it at 7.
Mm. And that's where you go with an experienced operator too, somebody who already has been burned, has a little couple of scars on them,
Yeah,
from
yeah.
battle wounds, and has been through the trenches. But what you bring up, it reminds me of something to mention, and that is that when you have a self-directed IRA, you want to also leave margin in there. You want to leave idle cash in the account in case you get a capital call on a deal like this. Because the increased rates, we're seeing a lot of capital calls. It's like, hey, we were getting this money at 2.75, and now it's 7, and so we need extra debt, and it's going to be more than we expected. So here's a capital call, and so people are bringing, are having to come to the table or lose their situation. So
Absolutely.
so it's important as an investor in your IRA to have the margin there in your account, because all expenses of IRA-owned assets have to be paid for by the IRA. So you can't just come out of your pocket with that. It's got to be retirement dollars. And we mentioned there are caps. So if the margin call is more than your contribution amount, you'd have to move money from another account. So you have to think about that. And again, begin with the end in mind and just be covered and really do your homework ahead of time.
That is great advice. And, just like for this instance, you've got these sponsors. They need to do a good job of answering these questions to your IRA members, and your IRA members have to remember to ask these questions. So, I would tell my audience to go through this video and listen to all the seeds and write these things down. Is it a bridge loan? What is the occupancy? What is the going in cap rate? What kind of cash on cash am I looking at day one? Is there a value add plan? What is the cash on exit? And what is the cap rate on exit? Ask a bunch of questions. It's your money. And I would encourage everyone, understand the investment. I don't feel like anyone should invest in anything that they do not understand.
Well, I was going to say, is that why they want, accredited investors? Because accredited investors are perhaps more well-educated investors. I mean, not always, I know that. But a lot of times they've been to the rodeo before. They know how it works.
That's true.
And also, I believe an accredited investor is seen to be able to afford to lose the money entirely. Yes. It's not going to kill their lifestyle. They'll still be able to, feed their family.
Right. And as I get more matured in the market, I want to formulate opportunities to circle back and really help those 506B people, because those are the people that I worked hand in hand with when I came up in the industrial industry. And, they all said that they had big retirement dreams. They were going to go fishing in Alaska, and they were going to go hunting in Colorado. And I knew what they were contributing to their 401k. I knew what they made every year. They were going to have to work long past where they would have their health to go do those things.
Yeah.
And then second, they're going to outlive their retirement. And they're not going to be able to afford to do it. And that pained me. So as I become more and more educated and more mature in the market, I feel like we're getting real close to being able to open up some 506B opportunities to be able to help that everyday person, because you're so true on that. Because in an accredited investor, they're not going to lose their home if they lost their retirement. They're not going to be devastated by it. a 506B, a person that's still working, still doing everything they can, an investment goes south and you have a capital call and everything goes down, they could possibly lose their home.
Yeah, you gotta really look at it. Well, if you'd like, I can talk about the layers of retirement if maybe that would
Sure.
be helpful.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is something that I've been looking at in my own retirement journey. Obviously, I'm in the retirement industry. It's like I really better figure this out. How am
Yeah.
I going to retire? And I see that it's like just like investing, we want multiple streams of income, right?
Yes.
That's what we do. And so that's the same thing with retirement. And so there are these ways to get multiple streams. Now, uDirect, we don't recommend or endorse any particular asset class or vehicle, but just generically, there's kind of Social Security at the bottom. You can't really depend on it, but it may or may not be there. Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got what you saved in the bank. You've got some bank money, like cash in the bank, right? And then maybe you've got like an annuity. Maybe you have an annuity that's going to pay you a guaranteed, so many dollars a month for so many years. And
Mm-hmm.
then maybe you've got whole life insurance with cash value, another layer. So that's 4 layers we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got your retirement accounts, like your pension, your IRA, your 401k, whatever kind of retirement savings, maybe a defined benefit plan if you've got one, whatever it is, you've got your retirement savings in there too. That's 5. But then on top of all these things, even outside of a retirement account, in or outside really, are these alternative assets. Like, so what is your real estate portfolio? What kind of precious metals are you holding? What kind of alternative assets do you have? And what is, people love rental properties and multifamily because it pays the mailbox money. So
Mm-hmm.
then you've got all these layers. And so something happens and kills one of your layers, because we've seen that in our lifetimes, like something will go away for a while.
Yeah.
And then you still want the flow to be going. And I think that when we talk, self-directed IRAs fit one of those layers, but it's just one layer. And and as somebody looking at retirement, you really have to consider it all.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing too is I also feel like because of the deals that we're doing, we could probably do a 506B fund, and almost if we would leverage just the IRA companies to bring those 506B people in, there's a good possibility they would qualify as a accredited investor after the first 5 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Because of our returns.
I love that they have these kinds of offerings available, because I believe that what this private equity does is let Joe on the street invest in the very same deal as the Rockefellers, private equity. And I think that it's egalitarian in that sense, that you don't have to be a multi-billionaire to get into these sweet deals. You can find private equity deals and invest as one part of a whole. That's not market correlated. It's super powerful. But like we've been talking about this whole time, it's all about the home.
Absolutely. I just seen the investment thesis in the structures and percentages from Tiger One. I don't know if you ever heard of that or not. The group called Tiger One. It's a $20 million investment style group. So if you're that $20 million level, so they had inside there, what percentages are people investing in? And I was really surprised that you've had, I think, 15, 20% in one area, and that might be precious metals. And that's going up right now. It's trending upwards. And then real estate was trending up like 12 to 14%. It was going up. But the biggest change in trends and upscale was there's more people investing in private equity right now than anything else. And the cryptocurrencies, it was actually going down. So there was less investments in crypto and more in private equity space.
I believe that. I mean, just to, talk about crypto for a second, it's, you got to consider again the risk factors. In crypto, there's a blockchain technology that backs up crypto, and that's one thing. But the cryptocurrency, it's just the Wild West. It's new. And we've had a lot of fraud in this space. And just like all of a sudden, here, $50 million of crypto disappears from some wallet. Where did it go? We don't know. There's been hacking, and it's
that for
lots
a
and
long
lots
time.
of risk. Yeah. But I mean, all investing has risk, but you can mitigate the risk by talking to people. Hey, what are you investing in? You see somebody that's successful. That's why your network is your net worth, right? You listen to podcasts, you go to real estate investment clubs, and you talk to people, you listen to the speakers. What are they doing? And then you kind of weigh that within yourself and, hey, what works for me? What are my what's my comfort zone? What are my parameters? And then you find the style that works for you. But you just want to be with other people that are doing it so you can bounce ideas off each other.
Absolutely. Two things on this subject. So number one, I cannot tell you how many people approach me wanting me to invest in Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency. I will not do it. I will not invest in anything that does not have tax incentives for me to invest in. I see no way that there's a tax incentive for a Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency. Do you have any opinions on that one?
Well, you're right. I mean, when an IRA loses money, so okay, let's go back. When you're investing personally and your own personal dollars, like not retirement dollars, are lost in investment, you can sometimes write that loss off, right? You can write off a loss. But when it's in an IRA, you can't write off that loss.
Right.
So that's there you go. So understand how precious these dollars are, and there's no safety net.
Right. So my second thing around Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is we don't invest in IP addresses. We invest in real addresses. There's real property. I can physically send you the address to my property, and you can go and visit that property. You can go touch it, feel it, sleep on it, walk in the grass, roll around in the grass. You know where your money is. When you click the button on a blockchain, cryptocurrency, anything like that, it's gone. I've never understood where it goes. It's just gone.
It's vaporized.
It's nowhere. Nobody knows where it is. And I've never improved that cryptocurrency can come back to me in physical cash.
Right.
I'm sure that it can, but nobody's proved it to me yet. So my personal opinion,
the internet is full of great research and fine experts on the subject. And again, it's an asset class. Any asset class you invest in using an IRA is an asset you want to know. And that's why I personally like real estate too, is who doesn't know what a house is? Who doesn't know, like how a house is built or or that you could rent it. Any adult knows about rent and mortgage and the cash flow situation there. And if you've ever qualified for a mortgage, you know what that process is like. So you don't have to be a super sophisticated investor to understand the cash flow of real estate. It's no big mystery. It's like, where does it go? You know exactly where it goes.
And you can sit down with a legal pad or a screen share, and I can physically take someone through the numbers to where they understand, okay, so what is a gross potential rent? What is the actual gross rent? What is the vacancy loss? What is our expenses, direct line expenses? What is our debt? Here's our cash flow or cash on cash. Those are real easy numbers to understand. It's simple math that you could sit down with the calculator, and I can have somebody say, okay, type this number in, minus 5% vacancy, and oh wow, this is really easy. And one last thing on crypto, I had a guy, he really tried hard. I got 2 videos I send out on my YouTube channel every time somebody attacks me on the cryptocurrency idea. And one guy said, well, cryptocurrency's been around a long time. I went, really? I said, has it been around longer than real estate? Never heard from him again.
Like
real estate's older than we are.
Caves are, I think, were the initial real estate.
Yeah. But when I really get down to the nitty gritty of things, just like Warren Buffett and other people have said, if you do not understand it, don't invest in it. If you do not understand the risk, if you don't understand the upside, don't commit something to it. Then definitely don't put more than what you can stomach to lose.
Yeah, there you go. Like I bought some crypto just to be in the game because I need to talk about it intelligently. And so, in a Coinbase wallet, just to watch what it's doing, what's the market. And but you're right, it wasn't the whole farm. It was just enough to, be in the game.
Yeah.
And so either like I'm an early adapter and it goes through the roof. It's like buying one share of Apple at the IPO or something, or it's not. But everybody wants to get rich quick. And I think I'd rather get rich slowly. So.
Yeah. Well, you know, just now finishing the Money Master of the Game with Tony Robbins, it's having that all season portfolio. And just like you went through the stack of different retirement accounts, that is an all season portfolio. You know, when your real estate is probably doing good, maybe your other ones are not doing so good, but your income stream might come down in one sector, but there's probably one cash flowing very well. So if you look at your overall returns, maybe you're going to, next 20, 30 years, you're 20, 25% return on your money. And it's because every one of them are doing something different in all seasons.
Yeah, and that kind of, what do they call it? You want to diversify your
Yes.
portfolio. That's what,
Mm-hmm.
we're not advisory, but I think that's just to say diversify your portfolio is like, wake up in the morning, brush your teeth. I think it's just pretty common. I'm
That
not a
is
dentist either, but
right.
that's what I do.
Well, Kaaren, thank you so much for the time. And if anyone would like to reach out, please, by all means, she's got her banner up behind there, but would you please tell the best way to get a hold of you guys and again, your fees and
Absolutely.
services?
Sure, sure. So our website is the letter U, uDirectIRA.com. So uDirectIRA.com. And then the best email address is info@uDirectIRA.com. And when we get an email at info at, everybody in the company gets it. That way we can
Mm-hmm.
jump on it. If somebody's, someone will jump on it right away. So we do answer email inquiries straight away. So that's the best way to get a hold of us. And we're all over social media. We've got Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and what have you. So you can learn about what our company's doing, kind of see us like on the street when we're out and about and what that's all about. And just also Google us because we're on a lot of podcasts. We have a lot of happy customers. So and I think what people really like about uDirect is our super low fee.
Mm-hmm.
Some companies will charge a flat fee, but then like say you've got like it's a flat fee plus a bump for real estate or a bump for a note. And it's more, but ours is just $275, regardless of the number of assets in the account and regardless of their value. That's
Very nice.
$275. So pretty straightforward. It's not a bunch of hidden fees. $50 one-time setup fee, and then we ask that you leave a pad of $325 in the account. Not a fee, but just a pad of your money, your investable money, but just a pad to cover future fees. So,
Yeah.
and of course, we've got other fees for things like FedExing something or writing a cashier's check or
Mm-hmm.
something extraordinary. Like if your renter sends us a bounce check, we're assessed a fee, we pass that along.
Yeah.
So, but our wire fees are super low, $15. Our fees are really, really low. And so that's probably why we've been in business so long. We're coming up on 15 years.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's all good stuff. And we're here to help. So if somebody has a question about their situation, like, hey, I've got this deal, can I do this in a self-directed IRA? We'll do a 20-minute free consultation. And that's right on our website. You can just click, give us your information. Hey, I want a consultation. Awesome. Then we sit down and talk to you. Like, what are you looking to do? And, and how are you trying to do that? And will it fit in an IRA? We can tell you.
That is fantastic. Well, thank you so much for the time,
Thank you,
guys.
Eddie.
I hope you got a ton of value out of this episode, and her to take time out of her busy schedule to do this is truly amazing. And we look to hear more about IRA groups. And please lock a comment below and check it out. Ask questions. The only thing we can do here is continue to educate ourselves. And the only way we can do that is ask the questions. So by all means, please like and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, be extraordinary. And thank you guys very much.